Giggs hasn't played for 5 weeks. He can always throw him on and put him in the action. I think they're very, very strong down the middle. Schmeichel, Bruce Pallister, Bottins and Hughes.
Same team that played so well in the semi-final, and as he felt that was their best performance of the season, Trevor Brooking, that was not a surprising decision.
No, I think it's a great boost in confidence to the players who are starting the match. I suppose they know that you've got Ferguson and Amakachi there sitting on the wings. I think the two key people for me are, of course, Parkinson and Horne do sort of harass the opposition and win the possession, but I think Graham Stewart, the number 8, just behind Rideout, will float around, and I think he was the man of the match in the semi-final against Spurs. And Anders...
The 114th FA Cup final, sponsored by Littlewoods Pools. The first final will be sponsored. He's up and running. Hughes, Ince, Keane. Batter started wide of Keane. Neville Southall, like his opposite number, getting an early feed of the ball. And the goalkeeper had to be equally sharp. There were 4 defenders back and Limpar left them all. Body behind the ball, out with the forearms. First corner is to Everton. First test from delivery of Andy. No Manchester United player. Schmeichel having a quick word with Gary Neville. No United player in the 6-yard box at the start. It's won by Ince, and it's in the hands, usually from a touch closer in than this. He's going to have a go. Wall got up well. And in the end, the wall was of 4 men. McClare, nice try. Interesting that, because the moment didn't hit it.
Foot might have even brought it under control, tried to hit it first time, but should have hit it sweeter than that. Finally, I think portrayed in his language to him.
Irwin to take. Got a fish to it. Southall sort of blocked the header at the moment of impact. Keane, outside Hinchcliffe, but then couldn't get under the ball. Surprised a few from Everton on the pitch and off it. Thought over-eager, Joe Parkinson. 6 forwards. One at the back was very well beaten by Hinchcliffe. That was key. Didn't quite run for Ince. Good advantage play. It's now Irwin. But in the middle, there's nobody on the right side.
Well,
Rideout and Stewart pull away. Met by Pallister. Limpar. Play Dennis Irwin.
great covering, wasn't it? Superb. Dennis Irwin, so consistent over the last few seasons, and that was a very important tackle.
Quiet man, Dennis Irwin. When he was a schoolboy in Cork, he played for a team called Everton. And he's had such a good season. Jackson. Right out. Jackson. All with the forward run, but that belongs to Schmeichel, who immediately looks. 4-on-2 break. Stewart wants it to the left. Jackson wants it to the right. Right out wants it down the middle. Still Matt Jackson. Oh, off the crossbar and out from Stewart. And then in. Right out. And the debate goes on between captain and goalkeeper, but they got so terribly outnumbered. Limpar had so many options. The only danger was that he wasn't going to pick the right one. It worked out in the end. Jackson played it across. Stewart off the underside of the crossbar, clearly stayed out, and right out just had to meet it to give Everton the lead.
Well, this is a relief player, Graham Stewart, because he should have scored. Bounced down, not over the line, and Paul Rideout did very well, jumped, kept it down, and well, I'm just so amazed that Manchester United were caught 4 against 2 defensively, weren't they? And credit to Everton, having soaked up all the pressure, they made the most of those extra players.
Goal coming right on the half hour. And a bit of movement now from both the substitutes. Rideout's goal, timing was strange because the feeling was that Everton were not doing themselves justice, certainly not as an attacking force. Manchester United had had so much possession, but really hadn't done enough with it.
No, they won possession, didn't they? It was Dave Watson with a crunching tackle, and it broke, and Anders Limpar suddenly caught 8 outfield men caught forward. Look at that, not certainly over the line, and Steve Bruce tried to cover, but again, he was one of those 2 defenders against 4, and with a bad hamstring.
What a change! Disbelief at such an opportunity should be missed. Ends with a quiet clap of congratulation to the line of 4 just inside the 18-yard area. Bruce thinking about going forward on the right side. And in the end, Owen coming across, but it could be just a little touch. Clipped up for Bruce. Well met by Unsworth. Shot by Butt, which he thought had been. Stewart down the middle. In comes Owen. Well, Stewart could have had 2. Had 2 in the last game of last season. He could have had 2 in the FA Cup final.
And again, they caught them on the counter-attack, didn't they? Lost possession in a dangerous situation. That was a beautiful weighted ball and hit it straight at Schmeichel. Good chance again, but Steve Bruce, when they lost that possession, struggled to get back at all, Barry. I mean, he's playing within himself, and he's not doing things as sharp, and I still think that's going to be a decision Alex Ferguson's going to have to take.
Here's Stewart, 4 back, only 1 more up. But the man who wasn't thought good enough by George Graham to play in the cup final for Arsenal has been by Joe Royle, and how well he will be pleased with his performance so far.
Well, I don't think you'll get a better pass than that one to reverse play and find Graham Stewart.
Appeal for handball, driven at him, deflected. Jackson shot. And Schmeichel. Just a little over 4 minutes of the half left. Everton on top. Driven in again. Oh! And it was won by Ablett, but he couldn't keep it down sufficiently. Excellent corner. Look for the dark head. He got there.
Just made too strong a contact there. Just needed to brush him, but he hit it too firmly and it went up. Could have easily gone in.
Met by Pallister. Horn. Oh, he could have had a crack then, Barry Horn. Doesn't score many goals, but when he does, they're usually of the spectacular variety. Well, Ince who started it, and it just didn't quite come off.
Dennis.
And very calmly done in the end, but Ablett went to sleep. Certainly Nicky Butt, one of Manchester United's better players. Arm linking going on. How calm was Neville Southall? Ryan Giggs has not played since the replay of the semi-final against Crystal Palace. This FA Cup final, sponsored by Littlewoods Pools, has still a fascinating course to run, one suspects. All in for Butt! Mistake by Ablett. He survived one at the end of the first half, he survived another at the beginning of the second. Immediate impression made by Giggs, who rode the challenge, waited his moment. Mistake by Ablett. Good block, Southall. Manchester United take the free kick. This is Giggs. Goes back on the left. And Paul Rideout, who's followed the line first begun by Sandy Young in the first success for Everton back in 1906. Scorer, the goal which divides the teams, go off. And United, having brought on their young hero, here comes his counterpart at Goodison Park. Away by Watson, and there was a bit of an elbow up. One dummy. They give it to Keane, or he gives it to Keane. But
the free kick.
Sharp. Dave Watson's had another storming match. Limpar. Ball never very far away, but he just ran into the cul-de-sac formed by Owen and Ince. Ball hanging a bit. Still Ferguson, turned away by Neville. The pulse of Gary Pallister would have been beating pretty hard then. 2 occasions he thought he'd ended the danger, snuffed it out. Hinchcliffe, though, still fit enough to drive in the set pieces. Hits it longer this time, and the ball in fact curled out and back in. Pallister got to it, but it came back. Covered by Neville, with Stewart with his hands up to his eyes. Well turned away. Watson. Barry Horn. Sharp is up with them as well. McClare! Sharp ran away from him. Neville. Just wouldn't break for Manchester United.
I think it also ran away from his right foot, didn't it? If it had dropped on the other side on his left foot, I don't think he would have hesitated and been off balance, but it isn't his best foot. But Ryan McClare in there again, but again it was a width, wasn't it, of Ryan Giggs that set the opportunity up. They've got to use that width more. Every time they do, they create an opening, but it then just breaks, and look, on his right foot, bounces over his foot. Should be doing that.
Thinks about Ferguson, who is left in the middle. Cross was just too long, gets Pallister back into a covering position. Here's Horn. Owen, oh, so easily seen by Parkinson. And then Hinchcliffe, Ablett, pass or shot, he could tell us. Watson, McClare, off the crossbar, may have been pushed up onto it. Wonderful play by Ryan Giggs. A sway on the byline that was perfection to watch. Look at this. And in came McClare, and did he get a touch? Yes, he did. But needed a bit of help from the crossbar and put over by Parkinson. The Nigerian would have satisfied many people in his country by coming on. They'll be watching with televisions in the streets, and it's Anders Limpar who is to come off. Swede retires from the scene, having played his part. The Nigerian comes on in his stead. Giggs with the corner. Here's Butt. Butt again with time to turn. Hughes. Where's the movement? Where's the pass that will open things up for Manchester United? Everton hope they can't find it. Pallister. Neville. We're aware of the position of the Everton players too. That's a corner. McClare. Still plenty forward. Sharp. Well, he didn't hesitate about hitting that one. And maybe he shouldn't think as often when the ball comes on his right foot. All right, good and pleasant player, but he hasn't found his form in this final. And on comes another one of those who have made their mark this season, in a season of adversity for Manchester United. It's gone one way, and it's played through to Scholes! Good stop, Scholes again, and another stop! Oh, he could have been the instant hero. Instead, it was the old man of the party who came out on top. Another one goes away. Wonderful block, and then he got up to improvise and kick clear.
Well, Giggs again, opening them up, perfectly weighted. He hit it well enough, just I suppose almost self-defence, but he stood up well, didn't he, Neville Southwell, despite his age, uses a bit of footwork that I'm sure he'll remind the players about. But I mean, that was absolutely vital.
Stewart from the other side. Hinchcliffe. A moment to be forgotten. Not even a corner. From Pallister.
I think the faces says it all, doesn't it? Scholes a good cross and a glancing header and then full stretch. Probably a nice one for the cameraman. Didn't quite get the power behind it. But Pallister, of course, will go up more and more, I would anticipate now. We've got to balance it up with Markin Ferguson, but normally, if they're losing in a game, Stu Bruce, of course, is the man who goes up to play centre forward. He's not there now.
9 minutes left. Giggs with the earlier cross this time. Middle horn is arriving. Covered by Keane. Gets a pat on the back, Keane, from Peter Schmeichel, who doesn't throw his compliments around. Ferguson. Not the best of balls in, though. And guided into a safety area. Down to 4 minutes. Manchester United losing their hold on the title at the last gasp. The other end. Giggs to take. Schmeichel to launch himself along with the others. And here's Owen. The man who's struck so many cleanly, who scored 4 in the cup. One last shout. Looks for Pallister. Hughes! Blocked by Watson. He's been everywhere, Dave Watson. Little bit of a push. Stewart away by Jackson. Here's Schmeichel. Wonderful finish. But it could be very hard to take for Manchester United. Here comes Southall. Almost came too far. Put up an arm and it rolled down it and stayed almost in the pit. Stoppage time being played. They can't wait to celebrate, to challenge the man in yellow. Delivered in. Neville. Amakachi might score. He might score. Schmeichel is not going to get back. He's still in the centre circle. Still Amakachi, but they've now got 2 back. And he's just strolling back. I don't believe it. The cup goes to Goodison Park. Everton's 5th success, and how well led by the number 5. 3rd time lucky for Joe Royle against Alec Ferguson. The team that were battling to avoid relegation didn't win a match in the Premiership until the 1st of November. Had only 8 points out of 42 when Joe Royle took over as manager. Have survived and have won the cup. And Manchester United have ended with nothing. It's Joe Royle's day. They still look stunned and they still look delighted. Pallister sportingly goes to the opposition manager.
Made 2 or 3 vital saves, but for the consistency of always getting the foot in or just getting his head to the vital cross, I thought Dave Watson, and no player I think for Everton probably deserves the plaudit, because he's been a wonderful servant for the club.
Brian LeBone and Kevin Ratcliffe as a winning Everton captain at Wembley. Prince of Wales hands the cup, which he shows to the fans of Everton, whose season has been turned round. And it means the city of Liverpool will go. Look at the disappointed, it would seem, face of young Prince Harry. His team will come again, that's for sure. Barry Horn, Matt Jackson. There's always somebody with a cap. It's the Swede, Anders Limpar, Joe Parkinson, David Unsworth. He was like that all afternoon with Mark Hughes. Scorer of the only goal, Amakechi, able to get his chance afterwards. So did Duncan Ferguson. Substitute goalkeeper Jason Curtin and Gary Ablett, and the winning manager. Why did they wait so long to let managers come up? They deserve it. Means that the city of Liverpool will have 2 sides in Europe next season. And that hasn't happened for a decade. Nice reaction, Mr. and Mrs. Sir and Lady Bobby Charlton and Joe.